Hey there, welcome to day 279 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and this whole month we are talking about the life framework area of contribution. And today's topic is becoming an advocate for change, or encouraging us to become an advocate for change. Now, advocate, what the heck's an advocate? Let me grab my magnifying glass so I can check out my notes. But an advocate or advocacy is the process of actively supporting an idea, a policy, a cause to bring about change, to make sure that something happens in the world, right? So we can advocate for social justice. We can advocate for environmental conservation. We can advocate for healthcare access for all. We can advocate for underprivileged people. We can advocate for people of certain groups or certain organizations that we feel strongly and passionately about. So we want to identify what we care about, right? We're not going to advocate or put any energy into something we don't care about, but we're going to think about what we are passionate about, and then we can use some of these tools for effective advocacy. I'm going to share 6 today, and then our action item is going to be to share one thing that you advocate for or against, or that you have in the past advocated for or against. I used to volunteer, and I was a big sister for a lot of years before I had my own kids and moved out of the town that I was in. And I advocated for children that needed a positive role model and a positive guide, or somebody just to give them attention and do things and activities with them. My little sister, I had the same little sister for 6 years, and she was the oldest of 6 children by 5 different fathers. So her mom didn't work. She just took care of the kids, and she was getting married. She did get married, and to the actually last father of her set of twins. So my little sister was an amazing little human being. Still is. She still is an amazing human being. So that was something I was passionate about. That was something I cared about. I grew up in a family with a lot of support and a lot of love and a lot of relatives and a lot of cousins. And so I never felt that lack of attention or lack of sense of belonging. And so it was a thing that I feel strongly about. So what are some tools that we can use and strategies to be an advocate for something we believe in or against something that we think is wrong, like social injustice, right? Social injustice, I think everybody would say, is wrong, and we all want social justice. So you can either advocate for something or against something. A lot more people advocate against something and push against things that they don't want than go out in the world and try to create the things that they do want. So let's talk about these 6 effective strategies or effective ways to advocate, to be an advocate. Number 1, research and education. We need to do our research and educate ourselves as well as other people by sharing what we learn for the causes that we care about. Number 2, building a network. If we have a network of like-minded people, it's a lot easier to collaborate and get more done in and toward the causes that we care about. Number 3, we can use social media. Lots of people use social media, and they at least spout off their mouths. They might not be physically doing anything, but they think that posting on social media and complaining about things is advocacy. And I guess it's either supporting or against something. So I suppose everyone on social media considers themselves an advocate for what they want and against what they don't want. Number 4, engaging with decision makers with respect to the topic at hand. If it's a policy, a government policy, engaging with the lawmakers would be a good example of that. Number 5, storytelling. Storytelling and sharing examples and sharing other people's stories is just as powerful as sharing our own stories when it comes to advocating for things. Now, if you happen to be a member of the group that you're advocating for, sharing your own story is the most powerful thing that you can do. And then finally, number 6, peaceful protests and demonstrations. And I am going to say, after what happened in Minneapolis a couple of years ago, I am not an advocate of the whole peaceful protest thing. And the way protests have been handled over the last few years in this country, I'm going to say absolutely not. I might even say I'm against demonstrations and peaceful protests because, in my experience, they haven't usually remained peaceful because of outside intervention, not because the protesters, the people that were advocating for the thing that they wanted, were not being peaceful, but they were agitated, usually by paid agitators. And so that is a way, that is a means, but I think it needs to be handled appropriately. And it has to really, the intent has to be that it's peaceful and other people outside of that group and advocacy aren't going to interfere. Yet, history has shown us in the past several years for sure that that's not necessarily the case, especially if political views are involved or if someone is trying to politicize a particular topic or group, then sometimes all hell breaks loose, as we saw in Minneapolis. So, and in other cities, right? Oregon and crazy. So, let's share one thing that we either have or will advocate for or against in the comments below. Any questions about this, hit me up. I did a little write-up, Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group page. Otherwise, just ask, right? Always just ask. If I can get one really important thing across this year, it's please don't be afraid to ask or research or go out and find the answers, because they're not going to always just fall into our laps. All right, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.